Good morning to everyone. First of all, let me say that I am real pleased to chair this seminar of Dr. Org Pires. I met Org when he was a young PhD student in mathematics here in L'Aquila, and we started a collaboration. He was a very interested, passionate student. Immediately, I realized that he was a promising science with a bright career ahead. Here is a short academic curriculum of Org. Dr. Pires was born in Brazil. He got a Bachelor in Production Engineering in 2009 by the Federal University of Ouro Preto in Brazil. Then he got a joint Master of Science in Mathematics and Engineering and Technical Physics by the University of L'Aquila and by the Gdańsk University of Technology in Poland. Then he started his PhD in Information Engineering at the University of L'Aquila in collaboration with the Biomathematics Institute of System Analysis and Computer Science in Rome. At the end of his PhD, he came back in Brazil and he did the first postdoc by the Federal University of Bahia, where he focused mainly on biomedical image segmentation. And most recently, he is completing a postdoc by the Osvaldo Cruz Foundation, where he is focusing on online platform creation for startups in healthcare. But there is more, because Org is not only a fervent, passionate science, but is also an enthusiastic teacher. And during the year, he has prepared several courses for non-mathematicians. For example, Introduction to MATLAB for medical doctor and biologist, a crash course in biomathematics, a YouTube channel on biomathematics. So he's a very active postdoc. Today, he will present a seminar by the title Innovating with Biomathematics, the challenge of building user-friendly interface for computational biology. Please, George, you can start.
Thanks a lot, Professor Maggio. I don't know even what to say, because I hear that from you is like, I don't know what to say. Thanks a lot. Anyway, I met Professor Maggio, as he told me. He was the person that introduced me to the study monoscience. It's an amazing group. I love this group, the idea that they make this kind of meeting, they join together to talk about several topics. And I had the pleasure, because my first talk was Professor Maggio that introduced me to the group. And you kept in touch, you collaborated, and I hope that you keep going on with this collaboration. So if no longer overdue, I'm going to start the talk, because I believe you are anxious to know about what I have to say. I'm going to start with a short survey. Let me see here. Let's see if it works just fine. So keep in mind that you just have to start. You just have to enter one time. After you enter, you should see in your phone all the questions. So just go to here.
The screen is not shared.
Sorry. I guess I'm a little bit nervous, because I mean this kind of amazing talk. So just give me a minute here. Let's share the screen. I think I have to remove this as well, not to bother. So essentially, you have to go to this send step. You can use the QR code. You just have to go just one time. You go to this here. You can go in your phone. Then you enter this code. I'm going to give you 1 minute to see the screen. Marco, I'll just ask you kindly, because you let me know about the timing. Let me know about the time, because I have to use my phone for doing that kind of trick I told you. So I may get lost in time. So I was kind of to let me know if I can the time.
Okay, yes, I think Professor Maggio can ease your chair so he can take care of that. Okay, thank you.
Seven seconds, okay.
28% there. Let's just wait a little bit more. 30
Okay.
people. 31.
We are 136 people on the teams, so I expect that number to be at least 100 down there, right? So it's connect.
But the problem that I'm not sure if everyone will be able to enter, because as I told you, I'm using a free version of the software. So the last time I used, you had a kind of limit of people. So I'm not sure if this limit is still valid. So pay attention to you can connect, computer, you can connect, phone. You just have to connect one time. So the idea that as you connect, you see in your screen the question. So all of the questions, they are multiple choice. There is no open. I removed because it was giving me a little bit of a headache to have open question.
Okay, now are almost 60 seconds because the counter here is not going very fast.
So I think that's enough. What do you think, Mark? Do you think that's enough? We have 40 people.
Yeah, let's go. It's good.
Okay. So please let me know your background. Because when I give this talk, it's a little bit hard to give this kind of talk because you never know who is listening to you. So I just have to adapt the talk maybe to according to the audience. I've reached the maximum. So let's see. Medical science, biological science. There is one from 5% of computer science. Okay, so I'll give somehow focus on here. The majority. I love that because the first time I gave the presentation for the third on science was medical doctors and biologists. Then my last course, the majority that were launched in Brazil, it's online, the majority were mathematician and computer science. I told them, please come back biologists because I need biologists as well on the course. So this one is very nice because here you have the opposite result, as you see. The majority of you are from the life science. Do you use any software for process? It can be any software that you use for processing your data. It doesn't matter which software you are going to use. Just let me know if you use any software to make simulation, to make some kind of data processing. Okay. No. Oh, that's cool. So I have a huge opportunity here to give a contribution. So the majority there is no software. So I guess my course that I'm giving that I will show you in the upcoming slide will be quite useful for you because it will maybe introduce it to this kind. For those of you that use just of you that use the software, can you let me know the biggest difficulty that you face? I mean, what's the biggest difficulty that you want to use the software? So as you can see, you have two options. Maybe it's not friendly, maybe it's hard to parameterize, it's hard to put the perfect. I wanted more or less I knew that because one of the biggest difficulty that's one of the reasons I create the course because one of the biggest difficulty when you use software is how to parameterize the software. Sometimes it's a nightmare even for someone that is already a researcher. Not friendly as well. I already expect that as well. So as you hear, the majority of the people, like 90%, that's what I expected. Which type of presentation do you prefer? I mean, as I told Mark, I prepared two presentations. One presentation is more dynamic. I'm going to talk to you, discuss a few. The second is a more traditional presentation. The third one, you just stop me whatever you want. So do you prefer more dynamic, traditional, a little bit more like you stop me whatever you want? Perfect. I love this. This group, I love this group because I mean, you talk to me what I want to hear. I promise. This is the last one. That's all. This is the last one. What makes Facebook so special? Facebook and Windows. Why do you think they're so special? Just about the code? It's about the hardcore, the headquarter, the physical details, or the ideas plus the codes? What do you think that's so special about Facebook and Windows? Professor, you guys, you are amazing. That's the correct answer. That's what I expected. So as I'm going to explain during the talk. Since most of you already selected dynamic talk, Marco, I don't know, there is a comeback, there is a feedback come to you. I believe there is someone with a kind of something open, like there is a feedback come back to me. Do you know what's happened? It's bothering me because...
maybe Professor Maggio, do you have your microphone open?
There is something coming back.
Because at the moment...
Let me see. That's the correct answer. So as I'm going to explain during the talk, one of the things most special, now I think it's better. One of the things the most special about the user-friendly interface is that you should somehow make the code special according to your background. So I go to the talk. Was the last. I saved the result because I want to keep that for my possibly for potential future paper. So finally, we start the talk. You all have chosen a more dynamic presentation. So please, don't hesitate, stop me, because everything's already recorded. I already launched an online course. Everything here is already recorded. So don't get attached to the talk. Stop me anytime you want. Your feedback is quite important to me. I totally encourage you to follow the course, because the course I'm going to give you a free coupon, which means that you don't have to pay for the course. So I think the only thing you have to do is to go there and see the course. The access to the course is lifetime, which means that you don't have to do the course right away. You can do the course wherever you want. So maybe you subscribe to the course and you do step by step. The platform gives you a very rich way to talk to me. You have a discussion on the platform. You can go on. I can keep sending email, for example, 1 email per month, like give you updates. So I totally encourage you to use platform. I started to use platform 1 month ago to launch course on there. My first course was like very nice. The second one I hope will be nice as well. And I hope you can go there. So this is the course. You just have to use the coupon TMS Rocks April 2021B. The other coupon that I sent by mail expires. This one has the validity for 3 days. There is one talk on TED that I love. This talk is how to kill people with PowerPoint. So I mean, I totally advise you to see this talk on TED, because here I'm trying not to kill you by PowerPoint. That's what I ask you, if you want a dynamic or a more traditional talk, because I'm following some of his guidance here to be friendly on my PowerPoint. So please stop anytime you want. I'm saying that seriously. I really want to hear from you. So how can you know more about this? You can talk to me after that. You can see the paper I published recently. You can attend to the course. As I told you, the course is free, or you can get in touch with me by email. I'm extremely glad to collaborate. I love to talk to people. I love to learn from everyone. I really mean that. I love collaboration. So let's start. Computer may have been one of the most important creations of humankind. I mean, you may say that I have read seen some kind of discussion. What was the hugest contribution to humankind? I mean, I believe computer was one of them, especially for science, and this more especially, in my opinion, to medicine and biology. As I saw, most of you are medical doctors, so you're, I mean, as I said, you can give me your impression. Please don't take anything that I say here as granted. Talk to me, give me your feedback. If I don't know anything, if I see something that is out of place, is wrong, let me know that I'm going to make my research. I'm going to correct my point of view. So, but I believe nowadays medicine has a kind of a big dependence from computer. When you have magnetic resonance imaging, you have patient segmentation, and this kind of system that I proposed, that I did on my second postdoc, and that was published in a paper, the idea of the system is to the idea of the system is to precisely help the medical doctor or the biologist to take decision, to make their work easier. So as I know by reading books, until some years ago, medicine was more a holistic discipline. I mean, you could not make experiment in human. So you had to do like philosophy, the Greek philosophy, and so on. But as far as I know, it started in Italy. I think it was in Genova. I don't remember the place in Italy, Padova. I don't remember the place in Italy that started the first experiment with humans, like first-hand experiment. And nowadays you can like open human and see what's inside. You can make experiment on human as long as you follow all the ethical protocols. But in the past, that was not even possible. It was forbidden by law. I could not do that. Always keep in mind that you can stop me anytime you want. So the medical science has been bombarded with a wave of technology and paradigm shift from every point possible. I mean, one of that I love the most is system biology. I mean, I'm passionate about system biology because system biology, like trying to understand the human body as a set of connection. I don't know how many of you already know me because I gave several talks. Thanks, Professor Martin, to introduce me to the Third Modern Science group 3 years ago. I don't even remember the talks that I gave, but I'm just trying to summarize more or less what is system biology. System biology is an area of science. We may say that it's an area of science from biomathematics that try to understand how humans work as a whole. For example, when you have two parts of your body, let's suppose two genes, how does two genes interact, and how this interaction is going to create what you call emergent property. So the genome project, if molecular biology, you try to understand what each gene does individually, but there are several evidence showing that when the genes go together, they create a new property. One example is your brain. Your brain is just a set of neurons that's able to fire electrical charge, chemical charge, neurotransmitter. But when you put seven neurons together, you create conscience, you create thought, you create creativity. But we still can understand how that works. But you know that it has to do with interaction between neurons. One area that came to me by accident, as I was doing my second postdoc, as I was designing my system, I was writing the paper that was published, I came across an area called evidence-based medicine. I didn't know about that, but then I decided to, I found the name interesting, I found the name like curious. Maybe some of you already know since you are medical doctors. Evidence medicine, as far as I could understand, and you can let me know by the chat if I understood wrong or didn't understand quite right. But the idea that I was able to see that the evidence-based medicine trying to use evidence like papers. Like I was surprised. I thought that medical doctors use papers to do their work, but seeing evidence medicine is trying to encourage them to use more papers and so on. I got in touch as well with another, as I was in a talk recently by a professor from Lisbon, from Portugal, and she was developing mathematical model for biofluid, for the blood. She was like modeling the blood vessels and so on. There is a very nice talk for her on my YouTube channel. She gave me permission to post her talk there, so I will let you know if you are interested. But she talked about something very interesting called, not necessarily about that, but she mentioned the word simulation-based medicine. I never heard about that. But essentially it's computer, mathematics, and medicine. Anyone has any question? I'm going to stop. Marco, everything's fine?
Everything is fine now on the Teams. I see no questions.
Perfect. So always keep in mind that you can stop me wherever you want. And so one of the core idea of my course that is there post that you is the concept of you go from models to innovation. So, so far, when you have life science and mathematics and computer science, you do some kind of mathematical models. You publish some papers, then you get all the credit for your papers, you become like a full professor and so on. But the point is that, what about if you try to go a little bit deeper? I mean, just not about to publish your models, but what about if your model can solve the society? What about if your models can be useful for a set of medical doctors? So what about if what you are doing has a industrial application? I know that there is a prejudice, there is a kind of I believe that, I don't know about in Italy because I stayed in Italy for 6 years, but I didn't have the opportunity to maybe to get in touch with a lot of, like in Italy as a country. I mean, I was just a student, but in Brazil we have a big problem because the university stay away from the industry. Like it's a kind of like, you may say a kind of fight, like one hate each other, something like that. I mean, I don't know about in Italy how it works, but the point is that, in my view, that's how I see it. In my view, they should work together because we need money to make research, and you need to apply that. One side effect in Brazil recently was when the president tried to cancel a lot of scholarship. The society didn't say anything because the society is not friendly with the university because of that, because you are not trying to apply our ideas to the society. So one of the proposal of my paper, the proposal of the course that I encourage you to follow, you go one step further. Why should go one step further? There are several reasons why you should do that. One of the reasons that you may be helping the society to find a different way to take decisions in medicine and biology. The second reason, in my opinion, that's my personal and professional opinion, you're going to have a kind of feedback, because why smartphone? Why do we have every year a new smartphone? I don't think that the only reason is because you have new technology every year. It's because as you buy an old like smartphone, you are paying for the technology of the next one. So you sell the current one, you finance the new technology, then you improve the smartphone, then you sell it again. So we have a kind of loop. I'm not saying that's the best loop. I'm not saying that it's the only loop, but that could be an option for academy that is trying to be a little more in touch with the industry by making innovation. In my specific case, I'm talking about biomathematics, how to make this model available as software. I'm not saying that I'm the first one to do that. There are several examples there, such as MATLAB is one nice example. You have the Copazi, you have the Galaxy that I'm going to show you that was used on my system. So you have several systems that are doing the same. They are trying to give the society what else developed into the university. But I think that you can do more. You can go one step deeper. So I already asked you if you all agreed with me. Most of you agreed with me. I believe it was like most of you agreed with me. I do not remember precisely the result, but I believe that was a considerable amount of number that agreed with me. But what makes Facebook and Windows so special is not about the code. I mean, the code of Facebook, I'm pretty sure that most of the web developer, now I'm also a web developer now, after 2 years working with that, I'm even giving private lessons about how to develop platforms. So I believe that now I can understand how special is Facebook, not because of the codes. I believe I can develop a code by myself with time, like Facebook and like Windows. What makes them special is the idea and plus the code, but the idea is more important. There is a very nice talk by Bill Gross. I'm going to leave you somehow the link if you are interested, by Bill Gross. He showed that he created various startups. He's a kind of created several startups, and he found something very interesting. That he found that the idea that you have in your project come in third place. He put like several topics to create startups. The first one was timing, the right time to launch your idea. The second one, I think, was team. And the third one was idea. Even though the idea was in third place as one of the most important things for a startup, I believe that what makes Facebook and Windows so special is the idea behind. And of course, after they launch the idea, you have the codes that is like property, like intellectual property. You cannot use it. Yeah, I mean, it's protected. That's the reason why it's protected, because if you do not protect, people can copy it very easily. So as one example, companies like Facebook and Google, it's very hard to analyze. I'm an investor. Recently, 2 years ago, I started to invest in the market. And one of the difficult companies to invest is Google and so on, Facebook, because you cannot it's not physical, it's idea, it's like thoughts, like creativity at place. So what is a user-friendly interface? As I put the title, my challenge is to work with user-friendly interface. So what is a user-friendly interface? I mean, one of the most difficult reasons when I was writing the paper, one of the author was, let's say, making a kind of feedback to me when I use the word user-friendly, and he's right. I mean, there is no methodology nowadays telling you what's a user-friendly interface. So it's a kind of subjective. So for me, maybe one software is user-friendly, maybe for another person it's not, because user-friendly has to do with the background. Maybe you can find, I find the MATLAB user-friendly, but I remember when I gave the course to the third in science 3 years ago, some people had difficulty, because I believe because of their background, they found it hard. So I showed to you on the course how to use another software for MATLAB called Biology, because it's on the channel, because that was even more user-friendly, but it go one step further. You had to could build the model just by box, and there were equations hidden on your box, but you could not see the equation, just if you wanted to see the equation. That was a user-friendly one step more. So that's how I see it. For me, that's not user-friendly. Even for me that works on computer science, I don't like this. I mean, if I have to, I use Ubuntu, I use Linux, I use this kind of a Windows command, but I don't like it. I mean, some people use it even if they have user-friendly interface. But for me, if I have user-friendly interface, I'm not going to use this kind of Windows. This is for symbiotic. This is a symbiotic for MATLAB, that you have a simulation for a tumor growth. I gave this example on the course. I don't remember if I gave you like a full course. There is a code, very nice code that I have about this model here. So you have a tumor, then you have here the decay of the tumor. I believe that you cannot see that you have a set of equation here. That's a pharmacokinetic and thermodynamic, the work of Professor Maggio. He is an expert in the first time I studied pharmacokinetic, thermodynamic was Professor Maggio. It was kind of funny. I went there like a stranger, let me follow your lessons. Professor Maggio was friendly. The first time I heard the pharmacokinetic and thermodynamic, then I start to work with that on my models. So that's as you can see, for me that's completely friendly. If you do not think that's friendly, just let me know by the chat. I didn't prepare a survey for that. I could have prepared, but I didn't. I think it was a little bit long to keep doing surveys all the time. It can be boring. But anyway, Marco, do you believe that I should go on like this, or do you believe that I should leave time in the end for discussions?
You can go for 10 more minutes.
Okay. So you can see here, but you can ask to show the equation for this diagram. You can show this diagram here. You can show all the equations if you want, but you can see it. So for me, that's user-friendly, because you have a computer here, you have mathematics here, you have a lot of stuff here that you cannot see, but it's there. One of the professors that followed my first course in Brazil, she's a professor from University of Brasilia. It's a very famous university in Brazil. Was pretty honored that she followed my course. I mean, my course is full of professors. I'm even very happy because a lot of professors from Brazil decided to follow my course, my first course. And she told me that even for pharmacokinetic and thermodynamics, she has a pharmacology degree. She teaches the pharmacology. And she told me that even when trying to use pharmacokinetic and thermodynamic model, in general, they are afraid. But I believe in Brazil that this is even bigger than Italy. I saw Italy, you have more like a mixture between mathematics and biology. You are more friendly to accept. In Brazil, I think that this is even bigger. Maybe that was my PhD was accepted. When I proposed my PhD, I had to choose one topic that Brazil was not very strong. I have chosen biomathematics. I justify that biomathematics in Brazil is not well developed. We have some groups, but the group are not so well spread. So they decide to finance my postdoc. No, but sorry, my PhD. So for me, user-friendly interface is any system that can be used by a no expert. But so you have a problem here. What's a no expert? Not a no expert. So that's one of the challenge, because for example, for me, user-friendly, there is no paper about that. I just found one article, so I decided to use it. You have simplicity, you have aesthetics, you have update, you have efficiency, it has to be removed. In this is designed, I believe you have all the attributes. The best way that you don't have to remove because it's a web application. You don't have to update because it's a web application. And since it's a web application, there are a lot of technology that I mentioned my course, and then plan to create another course specifically for computer scientists, for web developers, to teach how to develop my platform and how I use the technology. So essentially, I believe, I'm not sure, I may be wrong. Maybe send me an email 1 month from now and you ask me, Josh, you were right or wrong? Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe I have developed by accident a methodology, because I'm not saying that I'm the first one to do that, but I believe that it's like here we have a potential to publish something here, because here we did something very nice. I have to thank to my supervisors. I didn't develop that alone. This part was developed by them, this part was developed by me, and you did a lot of work to make the connection. It's all on the paper that I suggest you to read. So what I'm mentioning here is that that can be a methodology to develop anything you want, because the web application is when you interact with the user. The computational biology, in my case, you use Galaxy, which is a software for computational biology. It's free. Everything is free. What surprised me the most about this, because everything here is free. Nowadays, you have like people developing package. You just have to connect your package. Then everything's free, like an MIT license. So that's amazing, because you already have everything to build this kind of system. So in my system, basically here in the background, you have all the simulations, and here you have the way that the Marco, you sent me a message. I think it's Marco.
Yeah, it's just a comment, but we can read it in the end.
Okay. Now, please let me know the comment, so I can answer now.
No, it's just my opinion, but like to define user-friendly, I think the user should be the main thing you take into account. So I guess that a simpler definition would be that something is user-friendly if it can be used at its full extent by most of the target users. What do you think? Do you agree?
Perfect. I'm pretty happy. That's right. That's what I thought. That's the reason why startup has a step called pivot. I think it was pivot. I don't remember. I think it's called pivot. What you said is startup. What you do what you said. You have your first version of the system. It doesn't matter how it is. You go to the public that you're going to use. Then you go a kind of loop. You show the public your system. The public did like, so you go again. So you keep doing the loop until you find that besides what you said. So the user-friendly here is not about what I think is user-friendly. It's about what the other person think what is user-friendly. So what you said is completely right. But the point is that in general, you cannot do it just in one loop. You have to do the first version. You give to the medical doctor, to the biologist. They say, I don't like this interface. In the US, how can I improve this interface? Then you keep going the loop until you achieve a loop. That's one thing that startup does. Startup does kind of, you call like a pivot, like you keep doing the loop until the user is happy with your interface. That's okay, Mark?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Remember, you all can interact with me if you want. I will be extremely happy to take any questions. So as I was saying, you can replace this backend. You call this backend. You can call the backyard, or whatever you have, all the mess, because the idea that the medical doctor and the biologist should not, unless they want. If they want, they can go there and see the mess, because to do One of the biggest drawbacks of computer simulation, of computational biology, is the math that you have behind. I mean, the equations. I have seen already an event. I participated for an event in Teramo. I think it was Teramo. I think it was Trento. In Trento, I participated for an event that was simulation of cancer. The model, they're very scary because they have like a partial difference in equation, the model. So imagine a situation where you have to parameterize. As you saw on the survey that I did, most of the people found that the interface were not user-friendly and the interface was hard to parameterize. So that's a pretty valid point. That's one of the reasons why I did the kind of work that I did for my second postdoc. That's the reason why I think to publish a paper specifically about that. That's the reason why I created my course on Udemy. That's the reason why I'm here, because I want to, let's say, confirm what I already thought that would be the case. So I believe you can replace this part here by anything you want. You can use Java, you can use, I guess, MATLAB. I don't know if MATLAB has this kind, because MATLAB is paid. So I don't know to which extent we can use this kind of interaction. But the point is that we should keep in mind that this part here is, in my opinion, is the most important when it comes to user-friendly interface, because you have to develop a web platform that I'm here thinking about web application that the user can easily interact with the platform. They can easily parameterize the platform, and they should find the user friendly. It doesn't matter if you think that if they use like a clock, you put a clock. If they like a calendar, you put a calendar. You should make people like the eyes. The eyes should be always like colors and so on. So I hope if you have any question, you keep in mind that you can always stop me.
George, we have 5 more minutes before we take the question.
What? Can you repeat?
5 more minutes before we take.
Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to use this more 5 minutes to tell you about the challenge of building computational biology. What's the challenge that I face? Always keep in mind that you already have everything recorded. There are 3 hours of everything recorded. I did the video. I did I believe there is a quiz on all of the course. You have the same question that you have studied on science, you are there on the end of the course. So you pass the course, you have 50% of right question. I believe that's very easy to get. So when you have a challenge to create interface, user-friendly interface, you should keep it simple enough, applicable enough, and it should be implemented according to be used. Because I mean, it's simple to use. Applicable because it should be. Suppose that you do a software is very simple, but I mean you can't do anything with that. I mean it's useless. And it has to be implemented accordingly, because suppose that you use a kind of technology such as MATLAB is nice, but MATLAB is paid. I mean, how many people can pay for a license of MATLAB? So maybe you can have Octave. That is alternative. So create a user-friendly interface can be applicable enough and let me see if I have some. That's right, and friendly enough. That's one of the challenge. How you go to step. As Marco already said, that was a very nice point. As he said, that was I'm trying to say here is that precisely what he said. The user-friendly interface has to do with who is using the system, but that's not very easy to find. That's not very easy because you never know who is going to use your system. You may think like it's user-friendly interface, like it's user-friendly, but when the user see the system, they may say that I don't think that's user-friendly. I think that's very hard to use. So we may always know for sure who is going to. You may never know for sure who is going to use the system. The user may change over time. Maybe you design this for medical doctor, but then biologists start to use, they find it hard to understand. For example, one of the biggest challenge, because for example, when I was following one of the talk of the Sunday morning science, I remember the person was talking about the tissue experiment, and he said all the time, model. In my head, when I say model, I see a set of equations. So I stopped him and said, what do you mean by model? And he told me, I meant like a tissue and a bacteria. I don't remember precisely what he said, but it was a living system. It was not a mathematical model. It was not a computational model. So this kind of difficulty between terms can be as well a barrier when you go through this kind of user-friendly interface system. As you said, the parameterization of the model can be tricky, and you already agreed with me when I did the survey. Most of you said the parameterization is difficult. It is difficult because the system can be unstable, your system cannot behave properly. It can be hard to explain, even the basic of the model, depending on how the complexity of your model. So I'm going to give you two practical cases of user-friendly interface. Like one is Octave, the other is MATLAB. They are essentially the same. I don't know if you are familiar, but MATLAB essentially you can do most everything with interface. One of the examples is SimBiology, Simulink, and so on. They have a lot of nice toolbox. Another example is between Ubuntu and the Windows. I mean, Ubuntu is friendly, but sometimes it can be hard to use. Windows for me is extremely friendly. So, Majo, so I guess you said that you wanted to stop, so I guess you can stop here.
Okay, thank you, Jörg. And so we can take a question from the audience. Is there any question from the audience? Okay, I can start with a question, with an ethical question. So, probably because I became old, and so I like ethical questions. So, for you, how much a physician should trust a decision-making algorithm? Who should be blamed for an eventual error in a medical diagnosis and treatment recommendation?
Professor Maggio, you are the best. When you when you were my chair or my president of my PhD thesis, you did a very nice question during my PhD defense. Again, you did a very nice question. On my course, I explained that. I put that on my course because that is one of the biggest difficulty. Because nowadays we have, I don't know, most of you maybe already heard about that. Google is designing an intelligent car. What? That is a car. So there is a kind of intelligent car. There were a kind of situation, the car hit someone. It happened. The car hit. It happened really with Google, the car of Google. At least how I heard it. So the point that you cannot blame an algorithm. An algorithm cannot be responsible for that. So there are another situations where in USA they were using artificial intelligence for court, like they were judging some simple case as a prototype using artificial intelligence. So they found that most of the data used to train the artificial intelligence was based on white people and male, like men and white. So the algorithm was a kind of prejudice. And so the question of Professor Maggio has to do with that. So suppose that your algorithm make a mistake. Suppose that they make your suggestion, please do use this drug and this drug. So how can you be responsible for that? Who will be responsible? There is no question about that. I just wrote that on my report. I just wrote that part of my report, what Professor Maggio asked, like he's inside my head. Like I just wrote that yesterday on my report. I put that kind of a question. I don't know the answer. To summarize, I don't know. There is no answer. I participate from several events. I saw that people are not, my opinion, people should talk about that they are not talking about that. There is a book that I mentioned on my course. I strongly advise you to follow the course. The book, I believe the book is called The Math of Mass Destruction. The book talks about how algorithm is destroying our society if you do not do anything about that. Because the algorithm, they are biased if you do not teach them well. The algorithm can be wrong if you do not develop them well. And it can be wrong if you do not teach them well, because most of these algorithms based on artificial intelligence, based on applied math, they need data, they need the models, and they need as well some kind of people keep them updated. So at the moment, one of the biggest, because I didn't have time here to mention about that because I mean I ran out of time. But when you create a startup, that was one of the topic I'm trying to talk here. You have two kinds of risk. You have innovation risk and you have market risk. Everything is on the course. What Professor Maggio said is called about innovation risk because you don't know if the algorithm is going to work. You don't know if the people are going to use because they can be afraid if the algorithm makes a mistake, then they don't trust the algorithm, then they make a mistake, then but will not be judged by the judges, but the doctor will be. So that's a challenge. I don't have the answer, just like giving a kind of thoughts. Thanks, Professor Maggio.
Okay, thank you, George. So there are any other questions from the audience?
If you don't have another question, I'd like to finish just mention about the upcoming course that I'm working on as well.
Okay, go ahead.
So,
I think.
What?
You have other 10 minutes, I think.
Okay, I can do it 10 minutes. So some years ago, I used to wear a big hair. Now I have a short hair. I went to the third on science. I talked to them. I said, like, let's talk about MATLAB and the mathematical model. They said, that's cool. Let's do it. So that was born. The course was a collaboration with Antenisca, De Marco, and Francesco Macedo. I'm still in touch with them. They're a very nice person. I really like them. At the time, we were like a business group. It was I don't know about the business group now, but at that time, the business group was part of the third one science. And then was born the course that was recently launched. I mean, I think it was a big hit. I mean, not a huge hit, but it was well accepted. And I was talking to Marco because I'm planning to launch an online course based on this course on the third one science. I'm thinking as well to launch here as well, to give another talk in the future. I already said to Marco, and he said, like, yeah, that's fine as long as you talk and make the proper planning. So hopefully I'll come back in the future. So just let me know by May that you are interested on this course. The first one I already gave you the coupon. The second one I'm still working on. So just send me an email, put on the subject, like just to make a future. TMS is awesome. Just send. You don't have to put anything on the subject. Just send me. I just save your email. When the course is ready, I'm going to give you the free coupon to access the course. So thanks a lot, and I hope you enjoyed the talk. I did my best. There's a very short survey that I'm going to ask Mark to send you. It's a Google form. So I like to hear from people how bad I am or how good I am. We never know, but I like to hear what people have to say. So if you think that I did a very nice work, let me know. If you think that I didn't do a nice work as well, let me know that I will try to improve. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much, George. And I don't see any question. So I think we can finish here. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Professor Maggio.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you.